I was wondering about this. Like, for example, Andrew's doing a lot of grappling and he has friends that are getting ready for competitions too. And I've done some fartlek runs too. But an interesting thing I've found is that exactly what you're saying, going on like an Aerodyne bike and doing intervals, let's say 30 seconds at an 8 out of 10 or whatever, 8 or 9 out of 10 maybe, trying to keep everything nasal, and then rest periods of around 90 seconds, doing that 10 to 12 times, even though during that workout, I will get fatigued. Afterwards, I can come off of that and I'm not beat up I'm not nearly beat up so I can actually go and train the next day. So is something like using those types of tools something that could really be beneficial for grapplers or athletes who are trying to increase conditioning without building up too much joint fatigue?
Yeah, I think for sure. Like nasal breathing is something that's really blown up on the scene in the past 3 to 5 years or so. It's got so many benefits to it that we're still continuing to learn about. Like our nose actually filters the air. It helps us maintain glycogen and be more efficient with utilizing fat as a fuel source. It's keeping our body in a parasympathetic state for longer than it otherwise would have been, because mouth breathing is associated with activating that sympathetic state, which is very fatiguing over time. Nose breathing also helps keep our heart rate lower, and an increased heart rate is associated with exercise-induced fatigue. We've all felt that, and then you're going to be fatigued when that's happening. Nasal breathing stops or slows down all of that from taking place. So we're able to get a major benefit out of it. We're improving our ability to deliver and absorb oxygen because it's coming through a network where we need to be a lot more efficient with it. But I do actually like it for my combat sports athletes too, because it helps keeps them calmer. I think every athlete needs to be calmer, like a hockey player. If he can get to the bench in between shifts and nasal breathe and calm down, because nobody performs worse than an athlete who's not patient. When you're very sympathetic, you might actually be exploding in the octagon or in the ring or going for a submission that's not there. You weren't patient enough. You didn't get the right position. Or in hockey, you might give away a suicide pass. You're just giving away the puck. These are all very, very sympathetic things. So in combination to the physiological benefits of the nasal breathing, I also just like the psychological component of I'm in control of this thing. I can actually bring back strategy and not act so erratically to this sympathetic response. And I think that thinking about it almost like you're getting on a horse is a cool tool to use. It's something that I learned from the crew over at XPT, and they actually taught me it when I was getting in the ice baths. I've done a lot of cold plunges with them, and the way in which they put it in my mind is like the ice is an absolute stressor, but it's a stressor that you're not going to be able to stop. You will get out of the ice bath if you panic. So the way in which you have to think about it is a horse is sprinting, and you have to see that horse coming and get on the horse and just control it and understand that it's going to be a crazy situation, but you're on it and you're getting control. You're on the horse until you can calm down. That would actually help me a ton in the ice bath, because the people who get out are the ones who panic. They don't understand that that's coming. They don't get on the horse at the right time. They don't meet their breath where it's ready to be met, and they end up panicking and getting out. And I think that happens a lot in sports in terms of patience.
Do you think that athletes, I'm just curious from what you've seen, but do athletes have the ability to build their capacity to maybe be able to do things at like maybe an 8 or 9, but still keep everything through their nose? Or do you think that there's going to be a point where an athlete's just going to have to breathe in that fashion? What's up, Power Project family? It's time to stop dressing like you're a fucking preschooler and step your game up by checking out Viori clothing. Now, I'm not one to talk. I wear a fucking pink hat that has a dog on it, but at the end of the day, at least my shirt and shorts are popping. So head to Viori because they have great stuff for your top and your bottom. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to viori.com/powerproject. That's VUORI.com/powerproject, and you guys will automatically receive 20% off your order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to the podcast.
You might get different answers from different experts, but the athletes that I've worked with at the outputs that they're at, I would say that at a certain point you are going to breathe through your mouth. I think that is fair to say.
Okay. Maybe you're putting undue stress by, wouldn't it get to a certain point where, again, it's just a extra stressor, like a cold plunge, like breathing in and out of your nose, but like forcing it while you're trying to sprint uphill. might be an extra stressor that your body maybe doesn't need.
Yeah, and I think too, like you might be able to get that 8 or a 9 out of 10 in a controlled environment. So let's say physiologically you can nasal breathe at an 8 or a 9 out of 10. But when you're in the octagon, the psychological component of another person trying to take your head off of your body is a different kind of thing. And I think to self-punish during a fight because of your breathing mechanics, let's just focus on the nasal breathing where we can and take what the defense gives us. We're going to get on the horse. We're going to control that horse and we're going to breathe when we can. But I wouldn't want to, like athletes are so ritualistic and there's so much that I want to stay away from. Like you'll see, even in the world of fighting, we'll just stay into that zone. Like when getting into the octagon, you'll see John Jones crawls into the octagon. Anderson Silva, he would open his arms up and allow his back to bounce off of the cage. George St. Pierre would sprint to one end of the octagon and then sprint to the other end. These are all very ritualistic. Holly, she would always go back, jump, step, jump. Like there was very, very clear things that these athletes do every time as part of emotional triggers in order to get into a flow state. Their body knows it's time for combat. I don't really like messing with anything during that time frame because it's very ritualistic, and although I may have a science-based answer for it, due to the psychology of performance, I might actually hurt performance in the long run because of it.
Power Project family, we appreciate you checking out this clip. Check out another one. Just go check out another one, or comment down below and let us know what you liked about this one. But we love you guys and we're going to keep bringing you the heat, so comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Okay, peace.